Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And yesterday was a fun, busy, and chaotic day. I hope everybody had fun with the Nintendo Direct. I know I very much did. But today we're going to get back to more of a normal video again. And with that, we do have a lot to cover today, including 7 new Xbox Game Pass games, mostly for February, but also an exciting game a little bit beyond this month. Then also Nintendo reported some flat-out incredible numbers, and I think we might be to that point that the Switch is very debatably Nintendo's best console ever made. So do stay tuned for all of that. But before we get into anything, do make sure to hit those buttons below, like, subscribe, and do hit that bell for more content just like this. I am here every Monday through Friday, and it really does help the channel a ton. And just thank you all so much for all of your support. With all that said, though, let's just go and jump right into things. Starting off with Metroid Prime Remastered. Of course, they shadow dropped this game onto the Nintendo eShop last night, and after fans started to play it, it wasn't long before they started to realize that this is not just a simple remaster. The quality here is more in line with a full-blown remake, and you can clearly see that in some of the comparisons that's being posted online. It is a night and day difference. In fact, you can actually look at some of the comparisons here. This was posted up by L. Annalisa de Bits, which does a phenomenal job at breaking down games and their visuals, frame rate, and pixel count. Definitely go check out that channel. But here you can see a direct comparison with the GameCube and Wii version. And the remaster is a clear, massive upgrade. They overhauled the visuals, they overhauled the textures, the rain effects, the physics, and just absolutely everything. Retro Studios did an outstanding job with this quote-unquote remaster, and I mean, truthfully, Metroid Prime Remastered might actually be one of the better looking Switch games right now. That's kind of hard to believe considering this is a remaster of an old GameCube game, but that tells you two things. One is that Metroid Prime aged incredibly well, but also it shows you just how good of a job Retro Studios did with this port. If anything, I think this, again, quote-unquote remaster will give fans a lot of confidence about Metroid Prime 4. That game is going to look exceptional, regardless if it's on the Switch or that eventual Switch successor. Now, we also got an update for Ken Levine's next game titled Judas. This is the BioShock creator that we're talking about here. So there's a lot of excitement about what he can do with his new studio, Ghost Story Games. But so far, we don't really know too much about this game or even a rough estimate as to when it will actually release. All we've really seen so far about this game is a small teaser that reveals it has a stylized art style similar to something like BioShock Infinite, as an example. However, the good news here is that we did get an update from Take-Two in their earnings results, as they noted that they do plan to release Judas between now and the end of 2025's fiscal year. Now, their fiscal year ends on March 31st of 2025, so with this news here, I'd say that there's a very realistic possibility that this game could actually end up being a 2024 title, maybe a holiday release, barring any kind of delays. Now, we'll see what happens with all of that, but the likelihood of this game releasing soon, yeah, I'd say that seems slim with this news here. Moving on, though, Hogwarts Legacy will officially be out tomorrow for the Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and then also the PC. This game, without a doubt, by this point, yes, it will be the biggest release this year thus far, and that's only becoming more evident as it's already broken a record before it's even officially released to everybody. As you can see here, Hogwarts Legacy is officially the #1 single-player game ever, yes, ever, on Twitch with 1.28 million peak concurrent viewers at launch. Now, they say launch, but technically that will be tomorrow when most people will start to pick this game up. But nonetheless, this is absolutely insane, and it goes to show you just how interested people are in a game like this. Now, I've said this time and time again, but this is the game that Harry Potter fans have always dreamt about. It's not only a way to bring the Harry Potter universe to life, but it also allows you to be a part of that universe. You can insert yourself into Hogwarts, find its many hidden secrets, and become the wizard that you want to truly be. So it's always been an ambitious title. It's of course a big open world game and everything, but now on top of that, it's also reviewing well. And again, this really is just more evidence on how big this game is going to be. It truthfully might actually end up being one of the biggest games this year when all is said and done. I think it will rank in the top 5, if not just the best-selling game, period, for 2023. Yeah, I don't think that boycott exactly worked. good try, I guess, though. But yeah, this is going to be a massive release. And actually, speaking of boycotts, Nintendo also revealed some mind-boggling numbers for the Switch, including software. And well, what do you know? Pokemon once again has put up incredible numbers with Scarlet and Violet, as it's already eclipsed that 20 million units sold milestone. Now, to be more precise here, it's already sold 20.61 million units worldwide. So even with all of those technical problems that it has and all of the backlash that it received at launch, it hasn't really slowed down the Pokemon franchise even in the slightest. Now, with all that said, I'd still say that this game is a bit of a blemish for Nintendo. I mean, it's a great game outside of the technical issues, but at the same time, because of those issues, it just doesn't meet the Nintendo standard, what you would expect from a company like this. But at the same time, the good news here is that might change sometime later this month, as they do have an update planned. At the time being, they're not necessarily going into great detail as to what exactly they're fixing, but the hope here is that some of those technical issues will have improved later this month with that update. Beyond Pokemon, though, here's a small list posted up by Benji Cells, which reveals some of the updated software cells. This includes Splatoon 3 at 10.13 million, which that's very, very impressive. Switch Sports, that's already sold 8.61 million. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is at 6.12 million. Again, I mean, you're looking at a new record here for the Kirby franchise, and it just kind of goes to show you the move to 3D was definitely a good decision here. Hey, Nintendo, pay attention to this. Maybe bring back Donkey Kong in 3D as well. Just kind of throwing that out there. But also, Xenoblade 3 has gone on to sell 1.81 million. I would actually like to see that one higher. That is an absolutely fantastic game. And then lastly here, you have Bayonetta 3, which has sold 1.04 million, eclipsing its first milestone. Yeah. It's yet another failed boycott from the looks of it, but either way, the Nintendo Switch just continues to be an absolute monster, and in fact, that's kind of the big story here. Not only does it feel like they're striking gold with all their exclusive titles, but also the Nintendo Switch is now officially the third best-selling console of all time, surpassing both the Game Boy and then also the PlayStation 4. The Switch has now sold 122.55 million units worldwide. Now, the question really just kind of becomes, how much more can the Switch sell? Is it possible for the Switch to ultimately become the best-selling console ever made? You know, the thing is that there is a pretty big gap between third place and then first and second. The best-selling console currently is the PlayStation 2 at 155 million units sold, and then the Nintendo DS at 154 million units. So the Switch still has to sell 33 million units to claim the throne. That is quite a lot, but it might actually be a realistic situation. I think if anything, it will be very close to those numbers. Nintendo expects to have another big year in 2023, and hypothetically, let's just go and say it sells around 18 million units or so this year. Well, that would put the Switch at 140 million, and then you just have to kind of see if they can maintain some steam next year when it's expected eventual Switch successor releases. Now, they can still sell the original Switch units as these budget-friendly options. I think that it could actually do well for at least a couple years, but how much can it actually sell in the long run? That is kind of the question here. Either which way, though, I think in the grand scheme of things, the Switch will ultimately be remembered as possibly Nintendo's best console up to this point. Not in terms of sales, but also in terms of quality. I mean, if you really think about it, not only do they have a great library of new games, but it also has the ability of playing some of their most beloved games ever, including, of course, Metroid Prime. Again, go play that, everybody, but that's really the thing about the Switch. The Switch just has this massive library of quality games. On one side, you have these brand new games like Mario Odyssey, you have Zelda Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade 3, Metroid Dread, etc., etc. But then you also have Game Boy games. You have Super Nintendo games, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and then many ports from older consoles. They've even done a pretty good job this generation with third parties. You have games like Skyrim, BioShock, and The Witcher all on the Nintendo Switch. So the Switch just has a little bit of everything, and it also allows you to play these games on your TV or in handheld. It's a dynamic and unique console. So I do think that this debate is very real now. And actually, just go and let me know what you all think about this. Do you think the Switch is Nintendo's best console ever made? Let me know in the comments below. Continuing on, though, let's go and talk about Xbox Game Pass, as they just announced some new games for the month of February, and then they also confirmed a release date for an exciting game as well. We'll get into that here in just a second, but first, let's go and take a look at the 6 games coming this February, which includes Atomic Heart, Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, SD Gundam Battle Alliance, Shadow Warrior 3 Definitive Edition, City Skylines Remastered, and then Madden 23. So first off, if you are a fan of NFL and Madden, this is actually the perfect time for something like this to drop into Game Pass. Now, the reason I say that is because, well, NFL is winding down with the Super Bowl this Sunday. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go, baby. But if you miss NFL during the offseason, you'll have Madden 23 to play to tide you over until next year, or really just until the next iteration of Madden releases. Otherwise, we just get to speculate over the draft, trades, contracts, and things like that. So again, Madden 23, I think, is a nice inclusion, especially with the timing here. It will be coming to Game Pass on February 9th, which is actually today, so go check that one out. The big release for February, though, is very much Atomic Heart. This is a day one game that's caught a lot of attention pretty much as soon as it was announced for very obvious reasons. I mean, just look at this game. From a visual perspective, this game looks absolutely crazy in the best way imaginable. It's like this alternate revision of the Soviet Union set in the 1950s. It's got a great atmosphere where you got like all these killer robots and everything, and it just looks like it could potentially be a lot of fun. I think if anything, if this game turns out to be as good as it looks, I mean, it looks great, it could end up being a big surprise hit for 2023, which would actually make it 2 months in a row where Xbox Game Pass had a standout hit. Last month, they released Hi-Fi Rush. If you haven't checked that one out already, definitely go do so. And then this month, you have Atomic Heart. Now, the jury's still out. We'll see if this turns out to be good or not, but from everything that we've seen, whether that be the visuals, the setting, its RPG first-person shooter gameplay, yeah, Atomic Heart is shaping up to be a major release for Xbox Game Pass, which is set to launch on February 21st. Also, keep in mind Shadow Warrior 3 Definitive Edition, which is coming on February 16th. The standard version released last year, and a lot of people do seem to like this game. It often gets compared to Doom, but if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced first-person shooter, you might want to check out the Definitive Edition when it launches, again, on February 16th. As an added bonus here, also keep in mind that you can play the Wild Hearts demo starting February 13th. This is where you can play 10 hours of the game before it officially launches on the 17th. That's actually a pretty good little portion of the game, so you can kind of get a good idea on whether or not you like EA and Koei Tecmo's take on the monster hunting genre. All in all, though, I think this is actually a pretty solid lineup, all things considered, and really this is just the first wave of the month. That's pretty much confirmed with the URL, which says Wave 1. However, there's also one other game that I want to talk about here, because the last case of Benedict Fox got a confirmed release date, which is for April 27th. This is another day one Game Pass title, and in my opinion, one of the more exciting releases that we currently know about. This is a new Metroidvania with a striking art style, and from what we're currently hearing, not only does it have meticulous level design, but from what Windows Central says, it's the execution of its world and its story that's truly impressive. So definitely keep this game on your radar, because it looks like it has all the makings of being one of the better independent games set for 2023, now being on April 27th. Even if you don't keep it on your radar, I will continue to let you all know more about this game the closer we get to it. But there you have it. Game Pass continues to churn out an impressive library of games. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, do you think Microsoft should sell Call of Duty if required to complete the Activision Blizzard buyout? And as you can see here, 21% of you said yes, while the vast majority of you said no. So yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a weird situation. The CMA, they recommended selling Call of Duty as one of the remedies for them to approve the acquisition, but really without Call of Duty, you have to kind of wonder if an acquisition like this would even be worth it. And I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't even particularly care about Call of Duty. For me, games like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Diablo, Overwatch, etc., I think that those are all more exciting than Call of Duty personally, but the fact remains, Call of Duty is a massive franchise, and without the influx of money that Call of Duty brings on a yearly basis, the outlook of this buyout looks vastly, and I mean vastly different. So yeah, I don't imagine Microsoft will be willing to sell Call of Duty. I think they'll just try and offer multi-platform concessions for a long period of time, maybe 10 years as we previously heard, or maybe even more if the CMA isn't happy with that. But based on the CMA leaving the door open for remedies like that, that could be the solution here in getting it approved over in the UK. I mean, Microsoft, they still have a great case to win this in court, and these regulators, they know that. But at the same time, the CMA has always really been that wild card here because they operate just a little bit different. Even then, though, I think Microsoft is going to work hard to sway the CMA in the coming weeks, and I doubt, highly doubt, that will include them selling off Call of Duty. Anyways, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.